I'm Tony of Tony's Tech Side, Africa Tech Radio, and this is a special episode of the podcast at the Lagos Tech Fest 2024, and I have a special guest here with me. We have Tolulope Adeyinka, the Fintech Business Development Manager, West Africa, Mastercard. Good to meet you.
Thank you for having me. My name is Tolulope Adeyinka. I manage the Fintech Business Development of Mastercard in the West Africa region. And I work with the Fintech ecosystem to ensure that we deliver value to the consumers in different parts of the market, from the SME perspective to the consumer perspective. We are making sure that all the fintechs that are in this ecosystem work with us in a compliant way. We provide the necessary guidance to them to make sure that if they are releasing any product into the market, they are doing it the right way. We also work with the regulators to ensure that these fintechs are properly guided in all the things they are doing in the market. So we are responsible for making sure that we grow the fintech businesses in our market. So basically, that's what I do.
So before this episode, you were on a panel session with other persons, and you shared trends in the ecosystem. Could you share 1 to 3 of the trends that you have noticed, just like the ones you shared during the panel session?
There are actually lots of things that we are beginning to observe in the ecosystem, but I will touch on maybe 2 or 3 of them. I mentioned something earlier about creating value and making impact by fintechs. And we are beginning to see the results, because a lot of fintechs actually closed shop in 2023. A lot of them across the continent, to be precise, not only in Nigeria. And you would see that what is the problem? They probably couldn't get funding to continue the process of innovation. And why are they not getting funding? I think that needs to be interrogated. There may not be one size fits all for everybody, but I think that if you are not creating real value and you are not impacting the society, as a fintech, you will struggle to survive in the coming years. You will struggle to get funding, because before now, 2 guys graduate from university, they make 2 t-shirts and print their name on it. Quite funny, but that's really the way I see it. And then they say their name is this, Fintech A, and then they start raising funds, and they have no idea about managing a real business. Yes, they have the ideas around maybe innovation, how they think things should be done, but there's regulation, there's policy, there's protecting the consumer, and then there's creating value. Is somebody else doing what you're doing? How many people are doing it? Have you done your research? So if you are not creating any value, you will struggle, and in just a year or 2, you probably will collapse. Now, I also talked about conscious consumerism on stage.
Conscious consumerism.
Yes, conscious consumerism is a trend globally that we are going to see rise, because people have passions. They have things they are passionate about. So if I, as an individual, say, okay, if I can go to a gateway where I'm making a payment on an e-commerce platform, but that gateway tells me that for every 1,000 naira you donate or you pay on this platform, we will donate 10 naira to cancer treatment for patients who cannot afford it across cancer centers in Nigeria. That is value.
That's a serious.
So that makes me believe that I will only go to a platform where they have put my passion into consideration, so I can make
intentional about that.
They are intentional. I will be, as a consumer, I will be intentional about it. So I don't have to go to everybody can have a payment gateway. Every Tom, Dick and Harry can do that. But what are the things that I'm layering on it to have impact in society? Those are trends that will shape the future of payments. Of course, biometric payments, where you can see most of the banks now have, facial recognition. as a way of making payments, authenticating your payment. You don't need to use your PIN. You just get a phone, and once you put on the app, it takes your facial recognition or fingerprint, and you can make payments. These are things that we are beginning to see as trends, and we believe that it's going to grow. The use cases are going to grow. So there are many others, but these are the ones I think are very prevalent that I can think of right now.
So for the players in this particular space, the fintech and e-commerce space, how should they be thinking of adapting to these trends, and not just adapting, but maximizing, their own unique selling points, the USPs, to ensure that they are moving with the trends, or they're also part of those setting these trends?
Yeah, well, the first thing is why are you in business if you don't understand your consumers? You are in business because there are consumers who want to consume your business in the first place. So if you are going to adapt to a trend, you need to know what is happening in your market. So of course you need to continually do research and work with the people who are using. So I remember when I was in the banking system, there was this customer experience and solution we had where we needed to ask our customers questions about our services. So we do mystery shopping. We used to do a lot of what we send surveys to customers, and we get their feedback real time, and they tell us that you guys have terrible service, you have this, you have that, and we go back and analyze that feedback, and based on that we start modifying our So I feel that people should not sit in their comfortable offices imagining that they understand what the consumer needs. You get
Put yourself in the shoes of a consumer.
So you need to ask your consumer, what do you want, before you design a product around the need of the consumer. A lot of fintechs make that mistake of assuming that they know what the consumer needs, but you don't know. So you are creating a product that is useless to the consumer, but the consumer is forced to use it because there are probably no alternatives. But the moment he gets an alternative that solves his problem and meets his needs, he's going to jettison you. That's why you will not scale. You understand what I mean? So, and for them to also do this, they need to also understand multiple ecosystems, how they work, because what works in ecosystem A might not work in ecosystem B. You understand what I mean? If you are a fintech in Lagos and you are doing business in Nigeria, the culture is different. The mannerisms are different. But if you're expanding to Kenya and you want to use the template you are using in Nigeria, you want to use it in Nairobi, you're going to be making a lot of mistakes, So those are things that I feel they need to learn from, and they need to also engage regulator on what are the things that are permitted for them to do. In Mastercard, for instance, we provide advisory services, for instance, to some of these fintechs. When they approach us and they say, look, I have this idea, I want to do this, I want to do that. And we sit down with them, we workshop it, and we tell them that regulatory wise, this is what we think. This might not be possible, but if you want to do it legally, that it will be approved by us, let's tweak it this way, let's make this available. So we provide those kind of services to fintechs to make sure that on the right path and they don't make mistakes along the line.
You mentioned the biometrics being a major trend, and something that's attached to that is the trust industry. Just like, and I won't call it an issue around trust, but there's a full conversation around trust for biometrics, and then cybersecurity, being attached to that, because as we're getting on that trend, we also have to have conversations about cybersecurity, the ethics part and whatnot. Cybersecurity generally, how big, do you think, it's going to be, and how important is it for everyone who plays in this space to ensure that they get prepared for it, maybe even before they get into the business?
I don't even know where to start from, because it's a very big topic globally. But you have taken me into something that was on my mind that I didn't want to mention because I didn't want to take too much time. But there's this concept of embedded trust. In financial technology, and it's also a trend that is going to be prevalent. Consumers generally will only work with fintechs and financial institutions generally that they feel that they can trust.
Yeah.
And what are the elements of trust? Is that, is my money safe? That's number one.
Yes.
If something happens, will you take responsibility, and can I recover from it? Can I recover my money? So these are questions that are serious questions, and that's why I was mentioning on stage when we were talking that sometimes we can't blame the regulator for taking some steps and releasing some policies without engaging
with this players.
Ecosystem, players in the ecosystem, because they have seen trends, they have received complaints, and based on those complaints, they know the players, and they are going to be able to, they are going to release policies that will prevent players from actually carrying out certain things. Now, okay, if you are going to, for instance, do card business, you must be PCI DSS certified. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
You must be PCI DSS certified. How are you going to keep people's data in your space, host people's card information, and you are not certified? And you are not following data regulation rules like the Nigerian Data Regulation, NDP, Nigerian Data Protection Regulation, NDPR. You see, these are things that fintechs need to pay attention to. But one thing I want to mention is that a lot of people see Mastercard as a card company, which is a mistake. Mastercard is the Fintech of Fintechs. We don't only provide solutions to you in payments. We don't provide solutions to you only in cards. We also provide solutions in cybersecurity space. So what we usually would do is that if you are operating in the payment space, card space, we let you know that, or even crypto, we let you know that these are the cyber threats within this space, but our solutions are able to help you overcome those cyber threats. So fintechs should be able to decipher that if I'm operating in this particular space, these are threats to my business and threats to the consumers that I serve. So we provide that enabling environment for them to understand that we can help them solve certain problems that will help them, that will prevent them from losing millions of dollars and even lawsuits in cybersecurity space.
Can you speak to how Mastercard is leveraging its globalness, to ensure that it's also addressing the local issues that the country Nigeria faces in terms of the ecosystem, the players, the fintechs?
There's a saying in our company, in Mastercard, that we have global technology, but also have local relevance. Global technology with local relevance, right? There are a lot of programs that we put out there for fintechs to take advantage of. There's a program we call the Start Path.
Okay.
Start Path is a program that enables fintechs. So we've had a number of fintechs in Africa go through this program. It's an intense 6-month program that exposes early stage fintechs to global resources. We take them through rigorous product development processes. We review their products. We help them scale. We expose them to market. We give them access to market. We do a lot of reviews with them. They work with different teams globally within Mastercard, and then they get to pitch their products to different teams who are trying to solve problems globally in different markets, and we give them opportunity for partnership. That program has also invested billions of dollars in over 300 startups since it started some years ago. So those are ways in which Mastercard has been able to, impact the fintech community. Besides that, we also have investments. Recently we invested in MTN. That's in social media, it's everywhere. We invested in MTN because these are companies that are creating value, across Africa
on a large scale.
on a very large scale. So we want to see that we partner with them to, improve financial inclusion, join our expertise together to, develop solutions that can improve the economy of Africa, in multiple countries. Besides that, we've had, typically in Nigeria, for instance, we've had engagements with the fintech ecosystem where we have fireside chats, and we have conversations to understand what are your problems, what are you guys really going through, and we've been able to create value. For instance, recently we conceived the idea of Fintech Express, like I mentioned on stage, where we're partnering with some local fintechs to see how we can create value in the card issuing space. We help you reduce your time to market from maybe 18 months to maybe 48 hours to 1 week for you to issue cards in the market. So we've also partnered with a number of fintechs in the low-cost acceptance space. We've partnered with the likes of Profius and NetPlus to see that we're able to deliver low-cost acceptance. We were able to do that, for instance, with a FCMB, where over 500,000 merchants were enabled with contactless solutions. And then we've worked with the likes of Sterling Bank. We've worked with different banks in Nigeria to deliver those, financial inclusion and payment solutions to the bottom of the pyramid customers, SMEs, and all that. So we are continually creating solutions. But one particular thing I want to note is that we're not doing it by ourselves. We're partnering with local players who understand the system, who have access to these people, to be able to create that value. And one thing I must mention is that fintechs have the capacity to create value at the bottom of the pyramid level. So we want to work with them more to make sure that they are able to deliver those solutions and ultimately impact society.
Thank you very much for sharing, your thoughts. We had to hijack you from, immediately after the session to do this. Thank you very much.